who the president has given a nickname to, upping the ante on far-left Democrats, proposing a wealth tax that targets Americans with more than $50 million in assets and savings. What are the other 2020 Democrats' tax policies? Let's break down some of them this morning. Here to break them down is senior fellow at the National Taxpayers Union and board member for a free economy, Mattie Duppler. Mattie, thanks for being here this morning.
Yeah, good morning, Pete.
So walk us through this. First, we've got Elizabeth Warren's ultra-millionaire tax. What does that mean?
Well, it's a wealth tax. So what that is a tax not on income, as our current federal code dictates, but on wealth. So that's asset accumulation. That's stocks, that's business holdings, that's maybe even the Renoir that a rich person has sitting in their living room. So you can imagine how difficult it is to administer a tax like that. In fact, of the 12 countries that have had taxes like this on the books, 75% have gotten rid of them because they are so impossible to try and administer. Look at the volatility in the stock market recently. Can you imagine trying to tax wealth based on that volatility? That's exactly what Elizabeth Warren is proposing.
I didn't know that. So it's not a tax on income, it's a tax on all the stuff you have forever.
Exactly, and that also makes it constitutionally suspect, of course, because the 16th Amendment allows the federal government to tax income, but not assets, as this tax would lay out. All
right, that's what you're getting with her. How about Kamala Harris? She's got an approach that's sort of close to a universal basic income type concept.
Exactly. Kamala Harris is proposing what we would see from a lot of the Democrats, I think, which is that every person gets a check from the government in order to do whatever they would want with it. The problem with this, of course, is who pays for it. We haven't seen a lot of specifics from Democrats about who will pay for these specific proposals. Elizabeth Warren at least gets credit for saying exactly who would be the target of her wealth tax, while Kamala Harris says that we could increase the amount of spending going to people, and that will somehow alleviate inequality in the economy.
Wait, so her policy is everyone gets a check from the government?
Exactly right. And the notion being that there's enough money to go around to fuel that kind of spending. I would argue that that is certainly not the case. And if you look at the math of the matter, that would make it very difficult for that to be a proposal that would be able to be funded with the current revenues that we have.
Well, they don't really worry about math. I mean, we've seen that when it comes to this or climate change, math doesn't matter because the world's going to end in 12 years.
A billion here, a billion there. Pretty soon you're talking real money, right?
A trillion here, a trillion there.
Yeah,
pretty soon you're talking about real money. Here's a few other philosophies on the left, Democrats running that haven't necessarily laid out full plans, but you've got Kirsten Gillibrand. You've got, talk to us about, she wants to extend the Bush-era tax cuts. You've got Julian Castro, others. What are the other ideas percolating amongst the bunch?
Well, what's interesting to me is that we haven't seen a lot of specificity from a lot of these candidates. We, of course, have House Democrats like Ocasio-Cortez talking about a 70% marginal tax rate, but she's not running for president. She doesn't have to put that plan down to paper. The Senate Democrats who actually want to run for president are going to have to articulate exactly what their vision is for the future. So I think that's really going to push these Democrats to try to disassociate themselves and stand out in the pack. What we've seen so far is every member who comes out with a specific plan is trying to tap the rich more and more. Now, we've seen in the past, though, when Democrats talk a lot about taxing rich, they rarely actually put that into play. It'll be an interesting concept to see the Senate Democrats who actually have a power to vote on policy if they actually put their money where their mouth is.
They don't have to. They don't have. This is all a prelude to 2020, of course. And you say sticking out of the pack is going to mean looking like the best resistor of the president, and then basically the most extreme. So do you see even more extreme policies potentially coming out?
I think that's certainly possible. Remember, we've got socialism now in the mix as the hot topic for Democrats running for president. That is going to make it difficult for them, though, once they make their way out of the primary. Remember, Democrats need to put forward a candidate who can actually beat President Trump and not just state their base. That is, I think, probably two competing priorities for Democrats running for president. That's going to be very difficult, especially when you look at the tax plans and the fiscal policies that they're proposing.
No, you're right. Sticking out of the pack is not going to be modest increases at the margins of the tax rate. It's going to be extreme solutions that works for the base. Mattie, thank you very much for breaking that down for us.
Thanks. Good to see you.
We appreciate it. All right. Well, New York's liberal, ultra-liberal governor signing a new law allowing abortions up until a baby's